Are you ready to jump into some true crime docs, crime thrillers, and more? Check out our website for an extensive list of our favorite movies and shows at thesirenspodcast.com/whatwewatch and find our favorite true crime and thriller books and authors, some covered on the show, at thesirenspodcast.com/author alley. You can even find special deals for Amazon Music, Audible, Discovery Plus, Paramount Plus, Showtime, and even Grubhub. If you're looking to jump in immediately, check out our pinned Facebook post for some streaming service free trials on us.
You're listening to Sirens, a true crime podcast, brought to you by the Sirens Network. This podcast contains explicit content, so listener discretion is advised. The opinions expressed on this podcast are solely the views of the hosts and do not reflect the views of affiliates, associates, or sponsors of this podcast.
This is Sirens,
a true crime podcast.
Hello, Killerinis. This is Raven Rollins. I am here with my friend Simon Vaughn. Say hello.
Hello.
You might notice some different things going on this season. So Holly had to take a step back. She started her own business and she's got her other full-time job and a lot of other things. She moved. Anyway, a bunch of stuff led to her needing to do less episodes. So you're going to notice a lot of guest episodes this season, including Simon. So,
yes, that would be me.
Simon is my friend and has no foot in any true crime doors.
Absolutely. None whatsoever.
Has never, doesn't work in the field, doesn't play in the field. No, nothing. Okay. So, he's here with me today so that I can tell you and him about the Christmas special we are doing right now.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah, happy holidays. I should probably say happy holidays. So for your holidays, homicide.
Merry murder, everybody.
Merry murder. So we're just going to jump right in. Today I'm going to tell you about a couple, the Denneys, Jack and Elaine Denny from Locust Grove, Oklahoma. And this happened to them on Christmas Day 2007. So a while ago. Jack Raymond Denny, born October 29th, 1942 in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Elaine Childress was born November 24th, 1941 in Wellington, Texas. Both graduated from Sperry High School in 1960, which I don't even know where Sperry is.
I also have no idea where Sperry is.
Broken Arrow is right, basically. We're basically in Broken Arrow right now, but
I think Sperry is to the south of Tulsa.
Is it?
I think.
I don't know the Tulsa area good enough to know. Well, you and I are both from Ada, so
true.
We both don't really know too much. I know Broken Arrow because I'm like in it right now, but
I mean, I can walk backwards blindfolded to Ardmore, but I could not tell you which way is north.
I'm sorry, Sperry people, that I don't know where that's at. So,
wow, that was a surprising chunk of your audience that just disappeared.
Everyone in Sperry. I'm so sorry. Let us look it up, and it's got a population of like 14 or something. And all of them are listeners. Damn it. So they were married on January 21st, 1961 in Tulsa. And together they lived in Alvin, Texas, and then in Broken Arrow before settling in Locust Grove in 1981.
Now, Alvin I am familiar with.
Alvin, Texas?
Yeah, not going there. I have seen that one on some road signs before, which when you're going down into Texas, there's always the main thoroughfare signs, and then there's the signs that you can tell if you're going that way, you're actually going to Louisiana or to another state. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I've never even heard of Alvin, Texas, so I've never really been too many places in Texas, so I couldn't tell you. Like Wellington, Texas, no idea. So I'm sorry.
Be friendly and bring a
People
gun.
in Texas. Yeah. Yeah.
Failing to do so, we'll have one forcefully installed in you.
Locust Grove. Isn't that...
North.
Is it north?
No. Well, sort of. It's northeast from here.
There's a highway
You head out
from here.
It's
It's like a straight shot there, isn't it?
It is. It's if you were on your way to Mays County, out to the Pryor area, like if you're on your way to Arkansas. Locust Grove is either off of 244 or 44. I think it's 244 it's off of.
Yes. Locust Grove, I just forgot. We covered Locust Grove in the Girl Scout murders. So it's only like an hour east of here. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. My mom lived there for a while when she was like 7. Weird.
My wife's father used to visit it on the reg, actually, because he was a repairman of sorts. But he never had a job to do in Locust Grove. He just said back in like the 70s it had the absolute best diner in the state of Oklahoma.
I believe that. Because it's a small town, and it's those hole-in-the-walls that are
absolutely
like the best.
That's where you find like a burger messiah, is middle of nowhere.
Yummy. I believe you. Okay, so they had 2 kids, Chris and Sarah. And Jack had recently retired from the Grand River Dam Authority. He was a superintendent of mechanical maintenance, and he retired after 27 years of service. Whew. That would probably be a really fun job, though.
Damn.
Oh, no. Where's my butt-bump? Damn it. There we go.
Don't worry, everyone. I'm only a guest host.
So he loved to build and work with his hands and work with anything mechanical. He also enjoyed gardening and dancing, which who doesn't? He had a passion for old cars and hot rods. He also loved being with his wife and took good care of his family and household. He especially enjoyed spending time with his grandchildren. Elaine, on the other hand, enjoyed sewing, cooking, and gardening with her husband. She was a dedicated homemaker and was known for her organizational skills. She loved to play board games, and she would ride as a passenger on the golf cart with her grandchildren as often as she could, which I would too. If I had one, I would do it.
Hey man, life goals.
She also thoroughly enjoyed decorating for each holiday and sending cards to family and friends. She had a fondness for each and every one of her animals. They had a pretty happy retirement. Jack loved to tinker in his wood shop, and she became locally famous for her homemade candies and baked goods, like those old school ones. What were they called? Like ribbon candy? You remember that?
Oh, yeah. The hard candies?
Yes, like the old school hard candies. Yeah, so apparently she was like...
The ones that, unfortunately, whenever you open the can, if you leave it, once you've done that...
It's all one.
It all turns into one after that.
So apparently she, like, made stuff like that. And was
cool.
like... She would just, like, make it, spend tons of time making it, and then just go to her neighbors and be like, here's a thing of wonderfully homemade candy and baked goods. She was they were known as the grandparents of their neighborhood.
Aww.
Which, it checks out. I would love to have.
Wait a minute, I just remembered what show this is. Oh, man.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Wait, just a moment here, Raven. You got to tell me straight.
Okay.
Does this have a happy ending?
I mean, it's true crime.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
No.
Oh, damn.
I mean, define happy.
Everyone's fine, and candy is still made.
I mean, there's still candy out there, I'm sure, but...
Oh, no.
So, I'm about to tell you what horrifically happened to them.
Yay!
I'm sorry, I pulled you into my world. The Christmas season was particularly special for them. They loved the Christmas season. Elaine, who was 66 in 2007, was busy making her trademark holiday breads and peanut brittle. Oh my God, I love peanut brittle. On Christmas morning, while she and her husband waited for their adult children and grandchildren to arrive. She loved to hand this stuff out as gifts, so she was preparing for the onslaught of family. Yeah. They loved getting and giving collectible Christmas ornaments for the Christmas tree, like the Hallmark type. Her son, Chris, and his family lived 4 hours away in Allen, Texas, but they drove up every holiday to spend with them. Her daughter, their daughter, lived nearby and was a high school teacher, along with her husband, was also a high school teacher. And so Christmas Day, Elaine is staying busy in the kitchen. She's making her goodies. And Jack sits at the table and reads his paper, and they wait for their family to arrive. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so Sarah arrives with her family first. She's concerned when no one meets them at the door, like they always do. She walks inside. The door is completely unlocked, and sees that what she believes is a black trash bag on the floor at first. She gets closer. She realizes that it's not a black trash bag. It is a giant pool of blood. They immediately call the police. Both of them were found in the dining room. Elaine was lying on her back and had been shot in the head from the front. She was dressed in her cute little grandma Christmas attire, had no shoes on. What happened to her is something, obviously, that she wasn't expecting. Jack, on the other hand, was on the floor near the table where his head was beneath the chair. So he was you could tell he was sitting at the table, reading his paper, and someone shot him, and he just fell over where he was and landed on the floor. And there was blood everywhere. So, because it was Christmas, most of the local investigators were off for the holidays. The local police make the call to OSBI, and investigators notice Jack's open wallet on the table with no money inside, although credit cards were still present. Here's the thing. I want you to remember this. So, I saw the crime scene photos. The wallet that was on the table was brown. I just want you to keep that in mind.
Okay.
Just remember that. I just remember it. Okay. So, credit cards are still there. Money is gone. They don't know if he started with no money or if someone took the money but then didn't take the credit cards, or what was going on with that. There were also spent bullet casings all around, including on top of the table. There were firearms in the house. There was farm equipment that was still present. Nothing was missing from Elaine's purse. And still, investigators didn't think it was. So, okay. Obviously, this isn't a robbery.
Yeah, this is... What were they looking for in his wallet?
That's what I'm saying.
Because one of the number one crimes that I hear about up here is, especially with home invasions or theft, you hear from handymen and any mechanically inclined guy around here, tools. Tools get stolen faster than guns. Tools get stolen faster than anything because they pawn so easily.
Mm-hmm. And all of that was still present.
Yeah.
So he was sitting at the table. It looked like his wallet was open in front of him, and then he was shot where he was sitting, and that maybe she had turned to face what was happening and got shot in the head, fell back, and landed on her back. Very strange that nothing else was missing.
Yeah.
And like I said, they don't know if he started with money or not.
Oh, weird question. Maybe you're going to get to this, so just tell me to shut up if you are. But okay. What caliber were the bullet casings?
I might get to that. I don't know if I even wrote that down. That's a great question. I don't think I wrote that down.
Little thing about your guest host this time, I am a firearms enthusiast, and I can tell you from shooting multiple calibers of handguns, I'm a .45 supporter myself, that I could be wrong. Maybe a pocket pistol or something in this case.
I could be wrong. I did not write down what the caliber was, and now I feel really shitty about it.
Well, If it was 2007, actually, I do know for a fact the bullets ran like water in the state of Oklahoma then. You could, just about anyone who had a firearm was packing usually a 9mm, which 9mm, of course, being one of the standardized ones for most handguns nowadays.
Now I have to know. I'm sorry. Now I have to know.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to detract.
No, it's fine.
That's really peculiar.
9mm.
It was 9mm?
9mm. We've solved it. It was a 9mm.
Is, anything from largest pocket pistol up to standard sidearm.
And no firearm ever recovered. So.
Interesting.
Yeah. See, I hate missing things. And so I'm glad you brought that up.
I was helpful.
You're helpful. Okay, so. And it didn't say how many times Jack had been shot. It just said that he had multiple.
He had multiple gun wounds, and she took one.
She took one straight to the head. And that's it. Like, just one and done. But then, so investigators came in, and after finding they found the shell casings. And it said shell casings. It didn't say how many, but it said shell casings. So we know, for some reason, he, shot the shit out of Jack. And Elaine was almost, getting in the way. Because it was just a one and done. I
don't suppose Jack had any front-facing exit wounds, did he?
No, I don't believe he did.
Then he just straight up
right there in the chair.
He punctuated the sentence with her.
So, and they did find a palm print on the dryer in the home that did not match Jack, and it did not match Elaine or any of the family.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, investigators have to explore other motives than robbery because this is looking kind of fishy.
Absolutely. There's only so much TV you can tell yourself isn't real until you start recognizing TV patterns in the world. It's like that's like a well-written hit scene in a movie. Mm-hmm. That's the opening of a crime drama.
I know, and it's really focused on Jack is what it seems to me to be for some reason. But then, literally everyone they talked to was they were both literally the best. Not one ill word spoken about them. So who could have a grudge against this old man? It would have to, I don't know, go back decades or something, you know?
Is it bad form to speculate?
You can speculate if you'd like to speculate.
They were retired. They went down to Texas at some point in their life, and then they came back to Locust Grove. Locust Grove has everything you need to survive, and not a whole lot to be connected.
Yeah, I can see that.
They've got enough. They do have the internet out there, but it's definitely, having driven through it, I can tell you it's one of those places that unless you have a reason to be there, you blink and you miss it, and you're okay with that.
Yeah.
So, who's to say?
No one knows.
This also is going to start getting into things that living in Oklahoma, you know not to ask questions about. It's like, I'm sorry, you said he worked for a public works facility?
Yeah.
Okay, no thank you.
The neighbors, rubbernecking happened. Neighbors started gathering around the property. Investigators are trying to work. They're poring over this scene for clues.
One man was arrested for demanding his peanut brittle.
She said, fine. There was a lot of blood, and it looked like somebody had fired a gun in the dining room. All of this happened in the dining room, by the way. Just all of it. And according to one of the policemen, he said it looked like someone started firing into Jack and just didn't stop until they ran out of bullets. That's what he said it looked like.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So then to the neighbors, all of this is inconceivable. Everybody is talking about how great they are. No one has grudges against them. There's nothing that anyone can say that's bad about them.
Right.
One neighbor suggested that there were, because it was Christmas, that there were burglars in the area. And that maybe they had a run-in with a burglar?
You mean the thing that anyone over the age of 50 says when they don't want to go outside?
Yeah. Yeah.
No offense to anyone over the age of 50. I myself am in my 30s, and I've been paranoid of that since I was 8 years old, so I am actually relating.
So, one of the first speculations by investigators as to why the wallet was open and in front of him on the table. So, the very first thing that they think is that this is possibly a case of mistaken identity.
Oh,
and that he had pulled his wallet out to show whoever it was who he was, like show him his ID.
Yeah.
And I guess that didn't work. But this was just a speculation. So obviously there's nothing to prove whether that happened or whether it didn't happen. There's no evidence for or against. I mean, his ID was still in his wallet. So, and that's something that investigators run into.
Cases and podcasts come to be. Buy merch.
White girls like me gonna solve it one case at a time.
Heck yeah, with a gun in one hand and a baby in the other.
Hell yeah. Here's the other weird part, is that all these neighbors started congregating, and investigators are asking them, like, what did you see? What did you hear? No one heard the gunfire.
Oh,
and this,
no.
It's not, it's not like this neighborhood, where everything is like scrunched up next to each other. There's a good chunk between, but still, nobody heard someone literally unload a clip into somebody on Christmas morning.
This is not an insult in any way, shape, or form, but having grown up here, I know that there is a substantial chunk of the Oklahoman population who can recognize a gun report from miles away faster than they can recognize the national anthem being played.
Yeah.
So...
And then on the flip side of that, there are people who have lived in Oklahoma for so long and have heard just random gunshots so much that we just learned to ignore it.
Exactly. Well, also, I mean, in high wind, how many things whacking against anything sounds like a gun went off? I mean, if a squirrel lands on your trash can, hit the deck.
Well, so in the apartments that we used to live in, Simon used to live underneath us in the apartments. And
Lord.
You could hear a car backfire and think that it was gunshots.
Exactly.
Like, so,
which we did all the time.
A lot. And also gunshots, though.
It also didn't help that the apartment complex across the street was usually full of screaming, intoxicated people, so...
Yeah, that was fun. Fun times.
Fun times. Fun times.
Okay, so Billy Scott, the couple's nephew, shows up on scene.
Okay.
He apparently lives close by and apparently checked in on them every day. So when he shows up, the investigators want to talk to him and see when the last time he talked to them was. He is obviously, and this is according to the investigators, he is obviously anxious and jittery. And he says he was, quote, the last person to see them alive. He says that.
Verbatim.
Verbatim. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm upset and saying, like I was saying earlier, that this is a, TV drama. Mm-hmm. I have to say this is a TV comedy now?
Yeah.
That's... Dude.
Why would you say that?
Yeah. Look, I can understand slip of the tongue, but slip of the tongues happen due to being exposed to something.
Yeah.
And that means that either you knew before you got there, which if you did and you didn't have anything to do with this, how did you know that before you got there?
No, because, he just shows up on scene.
He shows up nervous and says, I was the last person to see them alive.
Yes.
Where are you now?
Please, come with me.
Please, by all means. Do you need a cup of coffee? What size are your wrists? What kind of watch do you wear?
By the way, you got a gun?
Yeah, you got a gun?
Like a 9mm or,
How fast could you say you could sprint a mile, actually? You just let us know that?
Yeah, so they take him, obviously, downtown.
You like to gamble?
They start asking him. He says that he brought them a newspaper in on the 23rd of December.
You brought a dated document. Yeah. You brought them a dated document.
He even says it was 11:30 a.m. What? Okay, so immediately they're going, he's offering way too much information.
Yeah, that's...
specified.
Isn't there a phrase
time,
for that
date, location.
In investigations?
Too forthcoming.
Yeah, overtly helpful.
Yeah.
And everything.
Well, yes, and that's the thing. If we take a look at a lot of serial killers. Let's just say like Son of Sam, for example.
Oh, yeah.
They liked to come back and look at their crime scenes.
Absolutely.
They liked to insert themselves into investigations. They liked to be helpful. Look at Ed Kemper.
Oh,
I mean,
God, yeah. No.
He would go into this, I forget what the place was called, but it was a bar for cops. He would go in there and rub elbows with cops. Yep. I was like, out killing people.
It's a thing. I do know this one from my own weird nerd research on things, but I do know this part. This is an issue that sociopaths, violent narcissists, largely egocentric psychotics all largely share. They're desperately in need of confirmation.
Yes.
It's not even like wanting the spotlight. It's psychological validation.
Yeah.
Some of them are absolutely craving the answer that, yes, you are bad.
Yeah.
That's
well, I mean, you're not
need.
wrong.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of one of Ed Kemper's things. Like, he was like, that's why he turned himself in. He was like, I needed someone to tell me whether I was a good egg or a bad egg.
Exactly.
Turns out, bad.
But no, and that is 100% of the time an insanely common thing that you hear amongst the criminally insane.
Yeah.
Is just that. Is that it boils down to the whole like I can't be the unique part of this.
Yeah.
Because I'm a human.
Right.
Right?
I am human, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you hear that a lot.
Yeah,
in a lot of interviews.
So he is already being like way too forthcoming, and they're like, what is going on? Like, why is he giving us all this information? Like, he tells them specifically, he was like, yeah, I got there at 11:30. I brought in the newspaper. It was the 23rd of December. He said Jack was in the shower when he arrived, and Elaine gave him money for the newspaper. And it was just like weird. Like the weird vibes.
A little too itemized.
Yes, yeah. And so they always posit behavior like this because of what we just talked about. Like,
I mean, it's not guaranteed, nor is it actual 100% suspicion guaranteed, because, well, another thing for those of you who live in the more populated areas of Oklahoma who may not know is that backwoods people are a little weird.
They're a little weird. And we're talking, this is Oklahoma. So if nothing, this might be the wrong word, but if nothing exciting has ever happened in your life,
it tends to freak you out.
You know?
Yes.
And so, I don't know.
As a backwoods explosion enthusiast myself, actually, yes.
Oh, no.
You haven't lived until you've seen that tree stump blow up, and yeah, you probably want to start saying things that you didn't realize you did.
I don't know why I just saw Joe Exotic in my head. So.
Well, it's either that. Yes, it's either you blow up trash cans in the middle of nowhere, or
throwing dynamite into that little pond or whatever. Oh, okay.
You either have an explosive, you make an explosive, or you buy tigers. That's what happens. In this state.
Or all of it,
or all of the above.
Yeah. So they continue to talk to him. They find out that he has an affinity for firearms.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just have to say, it's like, okay, you and every other registered voter in the state of Oklahoma.
I mean, you're not wrong. We're talking about Oklahoma. So he tells them that he owns 3 bolt-action 44s. Now, I don't know what that is because I don't know guns.
Bolt-action
Is that a
44?
rifle?
Mm-hmm. You said 44.
Yeah, it says 44. Bolt-action 44. Bolt-action .44.
Well, that's a couple of different things.
Okay. I know nothing about guns.
First of all, it is not a gun that is capable of shooting anyone quickly. Is
it like a lever sort of?
No. What a bolt action means is it's the ones that you see in movies where they're glorifying snipers, where they have that little dangle hanging off the side that they flip up, throw back, bullet goes flying, they flip it forward, patriotic music plays, an eagle screams in ecstasy, and the guy shoots all the Hitlers. Okay, with a single bullet.
Okay,
it's one of those.
Okay,
but it is usually a bolt action is for accuracy. That's where you have a single round. You don't have to worry about much mechanical action impeding your shot. They're lighter. They also are not usually chambered in 44 because 44 is traditionally a handgun round. So that would be... I can think of a couple of guns off the top of my head. One being pardon me for being a know-it-all, my father-in-law, rest in peace, was an avid gun historian. And it was a delight whenever he'd walk you through some neat stuff like this.
Yeah.
There have been bolt-action handguns. I own one myself. It is not chambered in 44, but
you can chamber it in 44?
If it's what's called a carbine.
Okay.
A carbine is a rifle that is designed to fire higher-powered handgun ammunition. It's mostly for not long range.
So this is so bad. The only reference that I have is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Hey, there have been way worse representations of actual historical firearms.
Yeah.
That game actually did do their research.
Okay, good. Well, good.
They ignored a lot of it, but actually a lot of the I've actually looked that one up myself. The guns in that game are an accurate representation of guns of that era.
This carbine or carbine? Is it carbine?
As far as I know, it's pronounced carbine.
Okay. I don't know.
Kind of the same way that a carabiner is pronounced a carabiner instead
learning.
of a carabiner.
We're all learning here today.
Yay!
About guns. Please don't shoot anybody. Okay.
Man, this is the weirdest after-school special.
So we find out he has 3 of them.
But a bolt, that has to be, he has to be talking about rifles. But
see, that's what I thought.
Because
it was
if it's
a rifle.
not, it's even weirder. Because if it's a bolt-action handgun chambered in 44,
I doubt it.
That's not only a collector's item.
Yeah.
That's for, murderers and Olympians.
Well,
that's who that's for.
And he says he has 3 of them, so that's highly doubtful. So it probably is a rifle.
Who knows?
Probably
Could
is.
Be one of those backwoods mafia guys
He
who
could
thinks
have made
he's
it
cool.
himself. Who knows?
Oh boy, so you're telling me you have 3 unregistered zip guns in your possession.
Man,
that's neat.
This is Oklahoma.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you're not supposed to tell us that. Did you not realize we're the police?
You know we're the police, right?
Police just stop recording and say, I've got 5 of them, idiot. You don't say it out loud. And turn the recording back on.
So
it's either a round that I am just not thinking of. Yeah, bolt action. It's a rifle that shoots 44 Magnum, which is for those of you who don't know.
I know Magnum means big.
Magnum does mean big, but it didn't premiere in Dirty Harry's hands until about the second movie, actually. That's moose or bear ammunition for the most part if you're taking a handgun into Alaska.
Jesus.
That bullet is roughly the size, if you are a chocolate enthusiast like myself, it would probably be about the size of your index finger.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just one.
That is me.
round.
That is me describing that I have pudgy fingers because I eat a lot of chocolate. That's
a big ass buoy.
Let me take a look at these. Yeah, no, they're Magnum rifles. They come in lever action and bolt. That shoots a 44, and it's just 44 Magnum, which 44 Magnum is already chambered for long anyway.
Yeah.
Long meaning rifle caliber.
So, okay. So obviously they were not shot with this sort of gun, but if they were shot with it at close range.
Oh, if they were shot with that at close range, 1, it would have only taken 1 round and on each of them, and 2 was, I hate to be morbid, the materials covering that alone, but was her head intact?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be the case.
Okay. Yeah.
I
was afraid you would say that.
Even the auto version of that ammo, the non-hollow pointed, which is hard to find because it's almost always made hollow point.
Yeah.
But even the non-hollow pointed 44 Magnum ammo is basically like having trying to think of relative size comparison here. It basically would be like a marble.
Okay.
Going into your head.
Okay.
At high velocity.
Yeah.
And then immediately splintering and franging.
Oh.
Which would, it distorts the concussion wave from all of the force. It's like someone rammed a knuckle into your forehead at supersonic speeds, and then your knuckle exploded inside, causing cavitation, a big old bubble to form that most human bones don't do good against.
No. Jesus. Well, let's thank the 9mm that, I mean, if you're going to lose the game.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, might as well not paint a wall.
So, and he didn't own up to owning any other different...
Just the 3 rifles.
Just the 3.
Either way, those are high-powered rifles.
Yeah. Like, can you hunt with those?
Yes, you can, as a matter of fact, hunt with Magnum rounds, but I don't know
Should you?
It just depends. It really depends on the animal, actually. Okay. Some animals you actually want... It's actually the same thing, weirdly enough, between, like, power tools and vehicles.
Yeah.
Some jobs require velocity more so than torque. That's a torque bullet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then you have to break a brick with another brick.
So they just went ahead and put him through a polygraph test.
In 2007?
Yeah, in 2007. Like, we all know.
When did they start saying those were, for the most part, worthless?
It's junk science.
It is. It always has been, too.
And this comes from, I forget his name, but the guy who wrote Mindhunter.
Oh.
The FBI agent. Okay, so he basically said a long-ass time, like in the 70s, like, that they're junk science.
That's what I thought.
Because he's studied... basically narcissists, serial killers, and he knows that they're easily beatable.
Well, most of the signals that thing is actually, most of the biofeedback those things are picking up on are not regular in someone whose brain chemistry is wrong.
I mean, what's your basis? What is yourself?
Oh, their pulse heated up a little bit.
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
it's like, were you loud? Yeah. Are they in an interrogation room?
So they're already anxious. I mean, there's so many different things. And so he himself has said, like, no, it's junk. And anytime he's ever worked on a case, he's like, please don't polygraph them. Just please don't. Like, it's not admissible in court anyway, so.
I thought, they're not admissible anymore, right?
No. And they haven't been for a while.
Are they? I mean, so they're still, like, you can still legally use one in an investigation.
As a matter of fact... It's weird that, so as a matter of fact, when I did my private investigators school stuff, like I did that whole year, and we covered fingerprinting, and we covered blood spatter analysis, we actually also covered polygraph tests. And there is licensing that you can get after you become a private investigator, that you can go on and become a certified polygraph tester. And I'm sitting here going, that's so junk.
It is. That's
like,
about...
I'm sorry. It just seems like a way to make an extra buck. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're a polygraph tester out there. I'm so sorry. Don't at me.
Like no one's complaining about anybody being successful. What we're complaining about is its relevancy in an investigation.
Exactly. Anyone can go to any polygraph tester and say, I want to have one done. Like, even as a private citizen.
So it's basically the same thing as like going to get an MRI.
Yeah. I mean, you can just do it for no reason. Yeah. So I'm not even sure.
Wow.
I'm not even sure why they did that here. I mean, he passed, obviously. So I don't know. I don't know why they even did that.
I have two things to say real quick. One, the reason I was harping on the gun thing and everything is that you don't have a carbine. You don't usually see someone with a carbine who doesn't have a handgun. That doesn't... It's like... And also, usually, too, you don't see somebody with a carbine who doesn't have other guns.
Yeah.
They're just not... not in 44. That's a specific thing.
Yeah, for someone to... I mean, he literally said he was a gun enthusiast. And yet those are the only three that he owns.
You only have 3 rifles that are very awkward rifles to own.
Yeah, I think...
Also, you're a gun enthusiast who has rifles in the state of Oklahoma. Yeah. Where's your shotgun?
That's what I'm saying.
The answer is, why isn't it in my hands at this point?
Yeah. So, but I mean, there were no guns missing from the scene.
I just realized the other thing, though. You introduced me as someone who has absolutely no experience in true crime and everything.
Yeah. But
And
you do have gun.
I just realized how much of this information that I am talking about.
Yeah.
And that sounds
See?
fucking weird. So
Everybody has their thing somewhere.
just to let you all know, I am a lunatic creative. That's what I do, and I do a lot of research similar to what Raven does.
Yeah.
Just, Raven is actually a good person, and I am a weirdo artist who reads things and laughs inappropriately at them.
I am also guilty of laughing inappropriately, but not
It's why we're friends.
here. Well, maybe here. I hope not here. You know what? Let's move on.
Moving on.
Okay, so they're thinking that if, like, he's an enthusiast, he would have, his motive would be to steal the guns at the scene. No guns taken from the scene. So
Well, that's a stupid conclusion.
they also take his prints, and it doesn't match the palm print.
Okay.
That's literally all they have to go on there, and so they move on to other suspects. Audible sigh. I know.
Fellas. Okay.
I know, and this is the OSBI at this point. So,
Whoa.
I mean, I'm not saying
Whoa! Like, okay, I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yes. This is the OSB because all of the local investigators were taking holiday, and so
Oh, because it was Christmas.
because
Yeah.
it's Christmas Day,
Oh my goodness.
and so they just immediately called the OSBI in. They just immediately handed over to OSBI.
SBI?
Yes.
The polygraph?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Oh no.
Why?
Osby, no.
Yes. So, yeah, and so they don't have any other evidence really. They don't have anything to tie him to their, like, I believe he had an alibi for the time of the murders, and so the prints didn't match. He had an alibi. They let him go.
Did they release his alibi?
I don't know. Unknown.
Okay.
Unknown. Then they switched to looking at a man who worked under Jack at the
At the dam.
at the dam. The dam.
Damn it.
And apparently he had, before he retired, he had like punished this guy for something, and this guy was like going around telling everybody he's a whistleblower and like all this stuff. And so
Whistle?
I don't that was the quote, whistleblower. And so I don't know what it was about.
This man accusing Jack.
Yes, accusing Jack of being a whistleblower. I don't know what that means. Yeah. And Jack had disciplined him for something. Nothing came of that either. Or should I say, there was no evidence to back up that
Like I
guy.
said, anything to do with public works is leave it alone.
Yeah. So in the meantime, their funerals were held on December 30th, 2007 at the Locust Grove High School gymnasium. And the case quickly hit a dead end, like quickly, for months to follow. Investigators from the OSBI, like Special Agent Vicki Lyons, refused to give up, and she would literally walk around the neighborhood and take prints from just random people. Not what I would have done.
Yeah.
I'm not an OSBI agent, so that's fine.
I can think of two things.
I guess they were thinking like it had to be someone in the neighborhood.
But
that seems counterintuitive. I don't know. I'm sorry.
No. I think you're right to think that way. I think one of two things here. Either is that they were at such a dead end and it was bothering her, and that's damn near obsession.
Yeah.
Or to get people to think that somebody still thinks it's relevant.
Yeah.
Or it's to agitate someone into dropping their guard.
Right.
Just constantly being there, hoping for someone to
finally fess up to something.
Hoping for someone to say something as stupid as I'm the last one who saw them alive.
Well,
it's like,
yeah.
But yeah.
So, I mean,
it kind of seems like an okay tactic if you're at a brick wall.
Like you were saying, if the tactic is you're taking the fingerprints for another secret motive, like trying to get people to talk to you or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the fingerprints, the printing is going to come in handy. Yes, you can always run them, but I don't think that's how you're going to catch the guy. That's just me. I'm not a police officer. I'm not OSBI. I'm just a fucking private investigator. But not my tactic. Anyway, nothing really came from that, though, either. And so they lived on, like, this outskirts of town. And there were several little houses in this little... What do you call it? Like, it was a little neighborhood. But they thought for some reason that, like, the killer had to be from the area in the first place. I guess that's why they were doing that. But then they were told that there's, like, an old camp nearby that randos frequented.
Man, don't insert a, oh, by the way, there's a Clear Lake back there.
Yeah.
Really?
Want to go check out Camp Crystal Lake?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, but and someone had even said that there was a guy staying back there at some point, and they went and checked it out. There was a camp there, but no one had been there in a while.
Yeah, by the way,
I think maybe it was like a hobo camp or something like that.
By the way, 5 miles back, there's a camp full of people who are missing all their teeth, and the wind whispers your darkest fears.
Yeah. And they also at one point went like door to door.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to go door to door.
When you run out of everything, you've got to do something.
Well, and that's how they found out that no one freaking heard the shots fired for some reason on Christmas morning. But then again, it's a hectic morning, and okay, we've moving on.
We're gonna get to the part where this is like an assassination, right?
Okay. A year goes by. Authorities received a bizarre letter from a Cherokee County prison inmate named Justin Walker.
Sounds like a character in a movie that would be like this. What is wrong with this story?
He had recently been locked up on assault and battery charges. And in the letter it says, quote, "I did unlawfully and willingly take the couple's lives. I shot and killed them both and robbed him from his black wallet," end quote.
So how did they, I guess, say this guy was emphatically the killer because black-brown colorblind is not a thing?
It's not. So, I mean, actually some investigators were skeptical at first. They had to follow up because it was a confession, so they had to follow up.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jack's wallet was brown. I literally saw it with my eyeballs. And then I read this letter with my eyeballs, and it said black. So, there were a lot of things investigators saw that were correct, things that did happen, things that did line up, but then there were a lot of things that didn't happen or didn't line up in this letter. They thought maybe it's a widely known case by now. He could have picked up information from articles, headlines, stuff like that. Maybe he's trying to get attention, notoriety. Maybe he's trying to make himself look more badass in jail that he just went to.
Or get moved to another penitentiary or
something. Yeah. And so the investigators conducted a prison interview. I don't know why they did this. I guess they just wanted to see if he knew what it looked like. But they had him draw a sketch of the interior layout of the Denneys house. It ended up being, quote, "not perfect, but we talked about it, and the other investigators and I, and it was enough. We felt we definitely had a good suspect," end quote.
It
was enough.
What?
That's not how any of this works.
Okay, look, that only works if the drawing was incomplete.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, that looks like a kitchen.
It's only been a year.
Though?
It's only been a year, and I've apparently murdered a couple in their home. I think I would at least know what the layout of the living room and the kitchen looked like, at least. So, And if it were me, I wouldn't have even drawn the rest of it. I'd have been like, I didn't go here, X that out. So don't even look at that. But here's the kitchen, and here's the dining room, and here's the porch, and, like...
Okay.
So they compared the palm print, not a match.
There you go.
They took it to the DA, and prosecutors declined to charge him.
Gee, I wonder why.
So more than 4 years passes. Walker is released in June 2012, served his time. OSBI requested that he visit their office for a follow-up interview when he got out. But this time, Walker, when he comes in, he sits down, he says, I never said any of that. Like, completely recants his confession. In fact, he said he didn't even remember making it.
Man.
Like, I wasn't there for that, so...
Somebody owed somebody a favor.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's nothing we can do now.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Literally nothing. You have to let him go.
Yeah.
So, in the years that followed, Lyons, remember the one who went around taking the fingerprints? Yeah. She later tapped by Thorpe, an officer, to help him look into the state's cold case files. And chief in their mind was the murder of the Denneys. They interviewed people who originally worked the case, and Thorpe reached out to local news stations to do a segment on the anniversary of the murders. Kind of like, if you know anything, say something, call, And at this point, it's 10 years. 10 years after the murders. 2017. And they get a tip. They get a tip from a former mental health professional who had treated Walker. He gave them enough for an indictment. So he apparently told this mental health worker that at some point during the stay at the hospital, he told the mental health worker that he had killed the Denneys.
Okay.
But that he had intended to kill someone else.
Which does sync up with what they were saying.
Right, the initial investigators. Yeah.
Doesn't explain the handprint.
So Walker's girlfriend had told him that her uncle had molested her when she was a child. And he wanted to get revenge. But he went to the wrong house. And he ended up killing the Denneys. Which is why it was so focused on Jack at the, So he mistook him for the uncle, even though he was trying to show him his ID. Like, I'm not this person, you killed him. So because of HIPAA, the worker was unable to disclose this information until a grand jury subpoenaed them. It's basically your only HIPAA workaround. And they served him, and then he testified later. And this, of course, led to Walker's arrest for the murders. Walker initially pled not guilty, claiming a mental disease or defect. Thorpe studied the prior cases against Walker, finding that he had always been found competent to stand trial, and that he eventually agreed to a plea deal in March of 2019, 2 counts of second-degree murder. So after serving 10 years on a firearms conviction, Walker was handed 40 more years. And the Denny family, in attendance of the court, listened as Walker accepted his 40-year sentence from the judge. The sentence won't actually start until after he finishes the 10-year sentence for the unrelated crime. So he's going to be in there for a while. His testimony completely contradicts what he said before, though. He said maybe the reason why he couldn't remember was because he was high. And then in court, on trial, another contradiction, he said that he just stumbled upon the Denny's house. And he went in to rob them, but he ended up in a struggle with them. And he freaked out and shot him and then took off without robbing him. That's what he said in trial.
Question. I've been being good. Question.
Okay.
Who's his girlfriend's uncle?
I would love to know that information.
And were they in that neighborhood?
I don't know if they were in that neighborhood at all or not.
Because that right there, it doesn't matter any of this other stuff. Because he was clearly coached. to say something by somebody in this regard. Did anybody bother to check if he had any visitation records or mail?
Not
which
that I
are
know
those
of.
things that I thought were required to be reported.
See, and here's another theory
Yeah?
that I found on Reddit, which isn't, I mean, it's, but...
Yes, the second most credible source to Wikipedia, Reddit.
Exactly. But
Let me tell you something about the government.
another theory was that his girlfriend was actually there, that they were both high,
Handprint.
and that they both mistook. I know, and they never checked her
Also
for the
curious
handprint.
about how her name is not included in any part of this report when
I know.
a suspect
I know.
basically named a person
I know.
who could possibly be considered an accessory.
I know. And she was never charged with anything. So, that being said, yeah, she's never charged.
Neat.
So, that wraps up with a lot of questions left.
And a lot of exasperated face-palming.
But I bet you're wondering, last but not least, who the fuck's palm print was it?
Yeah.
You want to know?
Okay, hit me. What do we got?
So they finally discovered, after all this, they finally discovered that it belonged to the funeral operator who had stumbled up the stairs on his way into the crime scene. You should see your face.
Wow.
And I'm going, why was the single first thing that you did, like you didn't immediately do this, was rule out every single person who was on the scene that day? Why?
I mean...
Why did we not do that?
That's not even... Okay, as not an investigator, but as a hobby intellectual, and as an avid video game enthusiast. So... Give me a second so I don't scream into your microphone. But, that's not... I'm not even going to say... I wouldn't presume to know what standard legal operational investigation procedure is. Yeah. But that...
It's eliminate everyone at the crime scene first.
That's literally how you fix your toilet. Yeah. Whatever you check that isn't wrong leaves what is.
Exactly. So I'm not sure how they got away with not eliminating everyone at the crime scene. And that usually includes any police officers that showed up, that includes any investigators, it includes any EMTs, anything like that. I mean I don't know how they missed it.
That's the whole reason that EMTs have to show up in court.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason.
Don't know how or why they missed it for that long. No idea.
Okay, look.
No idea.
I understand that probably most of your audience here are very rational people who
I would hope so.
are probably listening to these things like, no, rule out the crazy conspiratorial bullshit and all this stuff. Yeah. And I'm going to say you made a mistake bringing me on in this case because that's a hit. Mm-hmm. This was a hit. This is a poorly written hit. This is like a pulp novel hit.
I mean, why did he change his story so many times? And if it was a hit for the girlfriend, why was she never, she was never charged, she was never brought up, she just fades into the background.
Doesn't that technically make you an accidental accessory?
Well, I mean...
Because even if she was not...
it would be... I think technically it would be a straight up accessory, especially if she knew about it after it happened.
Exactly.
And she didn't say anything.
She didn't say anything. Yeah. I mean, because...
She's like, oh, you meant to kill my uncle, and now this other guy is dead. Thank you, I love you, but I'll keep your secret forever. I think that she should have been investigated. I didn't see where they investigated her very hard.
I don't see... There's so many...
They might have. I don't have all the information.
People that are listed here in this that have no record on an investigation in them.
There's a lot of what the fucks. Don't know if this was really just a case of mistaken identity. I don't know if there's somebody that had a legit grudge against at least Jack, and maybe Elaine got in the way of that, or if it was just a robbery gone wrong, and when maybe they accidentally shot Elaine first. And then, you know, when Jack was starting to get up, they just shot until they let it all go and then got the hell out of there. I mean, we really don't know because the guy who said he did it wasn't really that forthcoming. And I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, you can't be too forthcoming when you're reading a script.
Well, but then they did say, like, I did see in there that the murder weapon was never recovered. So
yeah, man, this is weird.
Yeah, very very weird case.
Because also it was a 9mm and nobody heard it.
My Christmas tinsel is tangling. So that's your Christmas special from your friends here at the Sirens Podcast.
Happy Hanukkah, everyone, in L'chaim.
Happy holidays. And we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Just so you guys know, our official Season 3 release will be in April. I think I have maybe one full-length episode for you before then. And plenty of 20-minute missing and murders in between. So wait on that Season 3 to officially drop. Have a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
You've reached the end of our episode. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Join Raven next time on the Sirens Podcast.
Do we have an outro? That's our outro, isn't it?